What if you stepped into a jungle so vast, so haunted, it erased you from existence? In 1925, a US-backed explorer vanished, chasing a lost city. Did the Amazon's curse claim him? Eager to unravel more gripping true mysteries? Hit like and subscribe to explore haunting historical accounts with us. The air hangs heavy, thick with the stench of decay and the buzz of unseen insects. Deep in Brazil's Amazon rainforest, 1925, a man carves a path through choking vines, his boots sinking into black mud. Shadows flicker in the half-light, and every snap of a twig feels like a warning. This is Percy Fawcett, a British explorer bankrolled by American dollars, chasing a dream that's equal parts madness and obsession, a hidden city of gold called Z. But here's the question that'll keep you up at night. Why did he, his son, and his friend vanish without a trace? What did the jungle hide that no one's ever found? I stumbled across this story back in 2021, buried in a yellowed history book at a library in Chicago. I was sipping coffee, flipping pages, when Fawcett's name jumped out. His tale grabbed me like a ghost story told around a campfire. It's not just about a man lost. It's about a place that swallows men whole. Let's walk into that jungle together, feel the weight of its secrets, and try to unravel what happened to the expedition that never came back. Percy Harrison Fawcett wasn't your average adventurer. By 1925, at 58, he was a living legend, a British colonel with a lean frame, a bushy mustache, and eyes that burned with purpose. He'd spent decades mapping South America's wildest corners, dodging arrows and fever in places where most men wouldn't last a day. The U.S. took notice. American investors, including the Rockefeller family and National Geographic, poured money into his expeditions, hungry for the prestige of uncovering Z, a fabled city in Brazil's Mato Grosso region, rumored to be an El Dorado of glittering ruins and ancient wealth. Imagine if you were there, in London, early 1925, watching Fawcett pack his rucksack. He's not alone. His 22-year-old son, Jack, a lanky kid with his father's fire, stands beside him. Jack's friend, Raleigh Rimmel, tags along, all enthusiasm and no clue what's waiting. They're not just chasing treasure, they're chasing history itself. Fawcett's convinced Z is real, based on old Portuguese manuscripts from the 1700s and tribal legends of a city that shines under the stars. These weren't just campfire tales. Fawcett had found clues, a 1743 document describing a great city with stone arches and statues, and a strange greenstone idol he believed came from Z. But the Amazon, it's no fairy tale, it's a green hell of jaguars, piranhas, and tribes who don't take kindly to outsiders. Just think, would you bet your life on a story that sounds like a myth? Fawcett wasn't blind to the risks. He'd been to the Amazon 7 times before, survived malaria that nearly killed him, and once watched a 20-foot anaconda swallow his camp dog whole. He'd heard the locals' tales, whispers of a cursed jungle where spirits guard sacred places. Some said the trees themselves moved at night, shifting paths to trap intruders. Others spoke of ghostly lights flickering in the canopy, or voices calling from nowhere, luring men to their doom. Fawcett, a man of science and steel, laughed off superstition. But I wonder, did he ever lie awake in his tent, hearing the jungle's relentless hum, feeling like something was watching him from the dark? On April 20th, 1925, Fawcett, Jack, and Raleigh left Cuiabá, Brazil, with a small team of local guides, mules laden with supplies, and enough grit to challenge the wilderness. Back in the U.S., newspapers were electric. Headlines screamed about the quest for the lost city. The New York Times called it the expedition of the century. Fawcett's letters to his wife Nina brimmed with confidence. "This is it," he wrote from a steamy riverbank, "the greatest adventure of my life." But the Amazon doesn't care about your dreams. It's a place where the sun barely breaks through the canopy, where every step feels like wading through a fever dream. The team pushed deeper, machetes flashing through vines as thick as a man's arm. The jungle was alive. Mosquitoes carried malaria, anacondas coiled in murky rivers, and electric eels could kill with a single jolt. The Xingu and Kalapalo tribes watched from the shadows, their intentions unclear. Fawcett believed he could charm them with gift beads, knives, mere respect. He'd done it before, trading trinkets for safe passage. But this time, the air felt heavier, the silence sharper. Imagine being there, your heart pounding every time a branch cracks. You're not just fighting the jungle, you're fighting the fear that it's fighting back. Every rustle could be a jaguar, a snake, or something worse, something you can't name. By late May, they reached a spot Fawcett called Dead Horse Camp, named for a horse that collapsed there on an earlier trip in 1921. The name alone sends a shiver down my spine. Dead Horse Camp, like a grim omen carved into the earth. On May 29th, Fawcett sent his last letter to Nina, scribbled by a flickering fire under a sky choked with leaves. We are at Dead Horse Camp, latitude 1,143 feet S, longitude 5,435 feet W. You need have no fear of failure. That was it. The last words the world would hear from him. The support team turned back, leaving Fawcett, Jack, and Raleigh alone. 3 men against an endless sea of green. I can't shake the image. 3 silhouettes, vanishing into the trees, swallowed by a place that doesn't forgive. Weeks passed, then months. Nothing. No sign of Fawcett, Jack, or Raleigh. In New York, the investors started sweating. Where was their golden explorer? The Rockefeller money wasn't just funding a dream. It was a bet on fame, and now it was slipping away. Search parties were launched, but the Amazon laughed them off. One rescuer, George Diet, called it searching for a ghost in a labyrinth. The jungle erased footprints, devoured campsites, and hid its secrets in plain sight. By 1927, the world declared Fawcett dead, but the mystery was just beginning to claw its way into legend. Here's where it gets unsettling. Local tribes started talking, their voices low, their eyes darting. The Kalapalo who'd met Fawcett's group said he'd headed east toward the Xingu River, ignoring their warnings about hostile tribes deeper in fierce groups like the Suya, who didn't trade pleasantries. Some villagers swore they saw strange lights near Dead Horse Camp, pale, flickering orbs that danced in the trees, gone when you blinked. Others heard screams in the night, sharp and human, cut off like a radio, losing signal. One Kalapalo elder, his face etched with years, claimed the jungle itself was angry, punishing those who sought its secrets. I read that and got chills. Just think, could a place really be alive, guarding something ancient and untouchable? Theories piled up like jungle vines, each one thornier than the last. Maybe a tribe killed the Meros, or poisoned darts, quick and silent in the dark. The Suja were known for ambushes, their blowguns deadly accurate. Maybe they starved. The Xingu River was low in 1925, fish scarce, and their supplies were limited. Fawcett had insisted on traveling light. Disease was another bet. Malaria or dysentery could drop a man in days, leaving no trace but bones. But then there were the darker stories, the ones whispered over flickering fires. Some said Fawcett found Z and stayed, guarding its treasures, living like a king in a city time forgot. Others spoke of a curse, tied to the old gods of the Amazon, spirits of the forest who didn't take kindly to greed. Fawcett himself was no stranger to the occult. He dabbled in spiritualism, attended seances in London, and claimed he'd had visions of Z's, shining walls, golden spires glowing under a moonless sky. Was he chasing a city, or a ghost that called his name? The years rolled on, and the mystery grew legs, stalking the edges of history. In 1928, a search party led by George Diet found a metal signpost near the Xingu River, rusted and half-buried, possibly left by Fawcett. But it proved nothing, just a taunt from the jungle. In 1951, a Brazilian explorer, Ohlen de Villa claimed he found human bones near the Xingu, bleached white and brittle. Could they be faucets? Scientists tested them too small, they said, not his. In the 1990s, another expedition uncovered a compass, stamped with a brand faucet used, its needle frozen in place. Another dead end. The Amazon was toying with us, dropping breadcrumbs that led to nothing but more questions. Then there's the 1930 story that keeps me up at night. A Swiss trapper, Stefan Ratten, staggered out of the jungle, half mad, claiming he'd met an old white man held captive by a tribe near the Colwyn River. The man spoke English, his face weathered like old leather, his eyes hollow with despair. He begged for rescue, saying he'd been there years. Ratten swore it was Fawcett. He tried to organize a rescue, but the authorities dismissed him as a drunk or a liar. I can't stop thinking about it. Imagine Fawcett alive, trapped in that green hell, watching the world move on without him. Would you keep hoping, or let the jungle take your soul? I've pored over Fawcett's journals, and his obsession with Z feels almost alive, like a fever he couldn't shake. He wrote about dreams where he walked through golden ruins, heard voices calling his name through the mist. It's not just a treasure hunt, it's a man wrestling with something bigger than himself, something that blurred the line between vision and madness. But what about Jack and Raleigh? They were kids, barely out of their teens, Jack 22, with his father's stubborn jaw. Raleigh, 21, with a boyish grin and no idea what he'd signed up for. They followed Fawcett's dream, not theirs. That's what gets me. How far would you go for someone you love, even if it meant losing everything? I look at my own family and wonder, would I risk it all for a dream that wasn't mine? Over 100 people have died searching for Fawcett since 1925. Explorers, adventurers, even treasure hunters, all swallowed by the same jungle. Some say the Amazon is cursed, that Z is protected by forces we can't comprehend. Fawcett's own son, Brian, led expeditions in the 1930s. Desperate for answers about his father and brother, he found nothing but silence and scars. In 2009, a book by journalist David Gran, The Lost City of Z, suggested Fawcett might have been killed by a tribe for disrespecting their customs, maybe smoking a pipe near a sacred site or ignoring a warning. But there's no proof, just more whispers. Even today, in 2025, adventurers trek into the Mato Grosso, chasing the same dream, and the jungle still wins. The Amazon doesn't give up its secrets easily. It's not just trees and rivers, it's a living, breathing entity, a place where time bends, and the past feels closer than the present. Fawcett's obsession drove him to the edge, but the jungle pushed him over. In 2018, archaeologists found ancient earthworks in the Mato Grosso, rings and causeways, proof of advanced societies from centuries ago. Was this Z? Not the golden city of Fawcett's dreams, but a real civilization, hidden in plain sight. It makes you wonder, did Fawcett stumble onto something sacred, something the jungle didn't want found? This story's stuck with me like a shadow since I first read it. I was in that library, the world outside muffled, and Fawcett's words felt like they were written for me. The idea that 3 men could vanish without a trace, it's not just a mystery, it's a warning. The Amazon is alive, in a way we can't fully grasp. It's a place where the air feels heavy with secrets, where every step feels like a dare. Fawcett's dream was bigger than him, but so was the jungle. And that's what haunts me. How do you fight something that doesn't just kill you, but erases you? So, what happened to Percy Fawcett, Jack, and Raleigh? The truth is, we may never know. The Amazon keeps its secrets, and maybe that's the point. It's a reminder that some mysteries aren't meant to be solved, that nature is bigger than our ambitions. Fawcett chased a legend, but maybe the real legend was him, a man who dared to walk into the unknown and paid the ultimate price. His journals, stored in archives at the Royal Geographical Society, end abruptly, like his life. Jack and Raleigh's fates are even murkier. No letters, No clues, just two young men lost to a father's dream. As I sit here telling you this, I can't shake the image of that jungle, stretching out forever, hiding its truths in the dark. I think about Fawcett's last night at Dead Horse Camp, maybe staring at the stars through a gap in the canopy, wondering if Z was just over the next ridge. Did he feel the jungle closing in? Did he hear those whispers in the night? Maybe his name got lost in the pages of history, but his spirit, his relentless, reckless spirit, never left those trees. And that's the lesson for us. Some dreams are worth chasing, but others might just swallow you whole, leaving nothing but a story that lingers like a ghost. Are you captivated by this unsettling story? Let us know your location and time in the comments. We'd love to know where and when you're watching from. Keep chasing the unknown.